Greetings, dear ones. Happy October 1st. Oh my goodness, we're into another month, October 1st. Happy Friday to all and happy new month. The first of the month is always very powerful for several different reasons, but today we're going to be working with nature and a process that I'm going to invite you to continue every month on the first of the month. So, um, we all know about nature, we all see nature. We're very aware of global warming and the different effects that we are having on nature. But that's very, very different than communing with nature. There is an amazing place down in Virginia that was created probably close to 3 decades ago by a woman by the name of Michelle Wright. It's called Perelandra. And if any of you are familiar with Findhorn, which is, it's interesting. It's a community. It is a nature training ground. And I've spoken about it before in previous Ancient Future Wisdom episodes. And it was created by 3 people who initially a husband and wife, and they had a friend who all were going to be managing a hotel in Scotland. The hotel went under, the owners sold the place, and they were left basically with nowhere to go and no income. So in the meantime, they found a little plot of land that they were allowed to stay on in kind of an RV situation. And it was very arid and with a lot of sand. So they didn't have a lot of money, so they were trying to grow some things. And one of the women was named Eileen Caddy. And as they were growing things, she started to hear information, voices, what we call channeling now, and told her exactly where to plant these things and when and how to do this, little by little. And it turns out later on that in conjunction with nature, they grew cabbages the size of large pumpkins. Pumpkins, huge, and very good quality. So in the cooperation with nature, they were able to not only feed themselves, but they purchased land at one point. And for many, many decades, it has been a retreat center, a teaching center. Actually, the UN cited it as an ecological farm example. And without kind of knowing about that, a woman here in Virginia, she moved to a plot of land. Her husband was working in Washington, D.C., and she was left on this land that they wanted to get out of the city. But there was nothing. There was no electricity. There was no plumbing. It was completely bare. And as she walked the land and tried to clear some, and they were kind of living in a tent or, again, an RV situation, she too began to hear voices and telling her, what to do, where to look for things on the land. And she thought she was going insane and had a great deal of difficulty and, challenges in coming to terms with this. Finally was able to do so after she listened, for example, where to dig the latrine. And it turned out to be the perfect spot. And little by little over the years, she worked with not just the land, but the nature spirits, the plant beings, the insects, everything. And it really is a model of not only a garden that used to be open to the public, but as well just how, when we cooperate and work with nature, what the outcome can actually be. And she continues to teach very little, but only to her apprentices at this point. And there are many energetic processes, and I encourage you to go look at this site. You can find them here on Facebook. It is called Perelandra, Perelandra. And they create essences there, but it's more about the process. And in the upcoming signature program of the Crucible that I'm launching in about a month or two, month and a half, you'll really be able to learn some of those processes of opening what she refers to as a coning, wherein you are working with non-human beings and energetics and the land and nature. And this isn't just for your garden or if you're growing some vegetables and fruits and what have you. This can be applied to projects in your life, be it starting a business, buying a home, whatever it may be. It's the cooperation with nature. There is a deep intelligence within nature. The interaction between and among all the different parties, so to speak, to even have a couple of trees and bushes and continue to grow and flourish. The interaction and balance and harmony and adaptability and communication and adjustment and the cycles of growth, the dropping of the seeds, each plant is so very different and fascinating. I encourage you to explore a bit, even a couple of plants or trees on your land or in your area. Not only the intelligence, but it's almost as if it were an imaginary movie or, animated show that you can, it's fascinating how each thing happens and what must occur for reproduction of plants and trees and insects. I have invited everyone before, and I encourage you and plead with you for your own sake to find some of the nature shows, particularly those they're on Saturday nights, absolutely on BBC. They run them all evening and all into the wee hours of the morning. And Sir David Attenborough has been overseeing and producing these nature or captures of nature for many decades at this point. So there's new shows coming out, but there's also many from long ago that I'm sure you can catch on other platforms, YouTube for sure. When you allow yourself to kind of be guided to some of these nature programs, you will see how that particular life cycle process or interaction between and among plants, animals, insects has a direct bearing on your life. And that's what the focus is today, is we're all aware that we're in crisis right now. We are in a global ecological crisis. And we're really at a tipping point of whether we're going to be able to remain on this planet or not, whether we still belong. And belonging is a really interesting factor for our own well-being. And when we see ourselves as separate from nature, we look at nature, we feel ourselves affected by it, whether it's climate, storms, fires, etc. And we are able to exploit nature, of course. We can protect it. We do interact with it. We go on hikes and, we look outside at the beautiful flowers, or we plant in our gardens. But that's not the same thing as actually feeling into nature and being in cooperation and communication and collaboration. And that's what we're going to do a little bit of today. But in order to really be in connection and communication, collaboration, and cooperation with nature, we must commune with nature. And that doesn't mean just sitting in nature. It means being able to feel nature. The indigenous and the ancients all recognized that there is an interdependence and an interrelatedness between humans and nature, and that we were a part of the whole. And little by little, we have removed ourselves from that position and are interacting with the realm of nature as if it were something other than. Or as a thing. It was very upsetting, and I'm still in the process, and some of my fellow township members are trying to find out who made the decision and about some huge sycamore trees that are on Route 70 here. If you live in this area, it's between Haddonfield Road and Cooper Landing. And these big, beautiful sycamore trees that have been all lined along 70 have little bit by little bit been eliminated. They've been gouged out by the electric company to be able to accommodate the wires when there are other alternatives. But they've marked a lot of them. I've called township, county, state, etc., and no one seems to know who made the decision. And at this point, they say they're going to replace them with trees. But when you cut down a 40, 50-year-old tree, you are releasing into the environment all of the pollution, all of the carbon dioxide that has been in that area and that it has consumed. So you're putting that back out into the environment. And that's one of the things that are so devastating about cutting down forests and cutting down, clear cutting for buildings. So not only are they going to be releasing all of that carbon dioxide back into the air, but we are also eliminating homes and environments for so many different types of birds and little critters and insects. And the land underneath, there is a large communication system between and among trees, which advises them of invaders, which sends nutrients from one tree to another to be able to feed it when it's missing those nutrients. It is very much alive. It is very much in community. It is very much intelligent. And when we treat nature as a thing and something that we can choose to do with as we will for our convenience, we are affecting ourselves. And we are dividing one another, dividing ourselves from nature, and it creates more division in the world. We are not outside observers. We are members of this community. And until and unless we feel it as a community, we are going to feel very alone and very isolated. And that's one of the vital pieces to being in cooperation and collaboration and communication with nature. I have so many different clients who, going through the process of transformation and then transmutation, are now able to literally talk to and receive communication from everything that's around them. Nature will try to reach you, to speak to you and help you and guide you, whether it's in the actual physical experience of nature, trees, birds, what have you, or oftentimes even if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of nature, you're in a city, you will be communicated with through the computer, through TV, through a sign that you see, through a car or a truck that goes by with a symbol or a word. Nature is constantly reaching out to us and drawing us in to be in relationship with. And that is very difficult to truly feel yourself in relationship with nature and feel her with you if we are not in feeling relationship with ourselves. And that is the process. That's the game. That's the goal here, is to be able to feel into yourself and transform anything that is not of your true nature. As children, we come in here and we still hear and speak to and communicate. You've seen babies and toddlers looking at things or staring at things that, we feel make no sense, that they're fascinated by something. But they're still able to be in communion and communication with these many aspects of nature and our world. And it's little by little, as we go through these painful or scary or infuriating or sorrow-filled experiences, that we begin to not feel. And in that process of protection, we divide and separate within ourselves our own true nature with what's often referred to as human nature, which is something that is more learned. And we are in this evolutionary leap to change human nature. It isn't natural for us to want to harm or steal or covet something. The good old Ten Commandments are not really ultimately necessary if we are moving from and living from our own true nature. And when clients go through this process of transformation and transmutation, they are not only now in alignment with, but in relationship with and in communication with their authentic self, their true self, their true nature, if you will, your essence, which allows you to feel, connect with, communicate with, cooperate with, and collaborate with nature in all of its many forms. So today I'm going to introduce the Perelandra process of a process supporting the biodiversity. You can, I'm sure, I haven't looked on their Facebook page today, but I'm sure it's stated there. I received notices from them, so I'm going to use my my source to read it to you. But actually, we are utilizing, and I encourage you to please look into one of her fabulous books. She's very, very prolific. This is Michelle Wright, Behaving as If the God in All Life Mattered. And if the word God doesn't work for you, please choose any that does, of course. But the idea is that there is a divine spirit, a divine nature in all things, and the process helps support that biodiversity, and moreover, it includes you in that process. So the essence of Perelandra is a tincture that you can purchase from them that's not only wonderfully beneficial for you, but it allows you to capture or intake that beautiful land and garden that's been created there between humans, the land, nature, non-human beings who are part of everything, of course, that is here. But in this case, they are a group of beings that are assisting in the maintenance and growth of that particular land. But it is a process that you can apply for your life. Anytime there is a rough spot, you can open a coning and learn how to include your helpers, masters of nature, the energetics of your area. This is what I bring to you every Friday in these ancient future wisdom processes of alchemy, that there are many different aspects of nature and beings who step forward at any given moment because they are the most ideal, or they are bringing forward a characteristic, an aspect, an energetic that allows for the growth and transformation of a particular theme that is occurring across the board collectively, and that you are experiencing in your particular way. And it shows up for everyone personally, but it also shows up in the collective. We, in general, are dealing with duality and division, but it seems even more pronounced at certain times or in certain ways. And what we are experiencing or seeing at this point in time is a division so marked by fear of lack, and scarcity. And so there is a greed of, I must have mine, I must continue to take and take until I feel satisfied, and it doesn't matter who that harms in the process. And I have had several clients this week encountering that same challenge when they're exploring deeply into their emotional wounds or traumas that they experienced someone in their life taking and taking and taking from them rather than giving as one expects as a child, and knowingly doing so. And that's very difficult to examine and explore and feel into, to be able to arrive at the other side of that issue, which is that in this instance of these clients this week, they came to love themselves in such a way that they wanted to give to themselves, whether it was a question of safety and security in their lives, whether it was a question of giving themselves the acknowledgement and recognition and freedom to express their essence, their joy, and what really makes their heart sing. And we're finding that with so many people now, they're not wanting to go back to jobs that are unfulfilling and where they are not acknowledged or recognized in any way, where the gifts within them are not permitted to come forth and cooperate with others to create more. We're also seeing such a profound separation between those that are in this mode of greed and taking, no matter the cost. And of course, that's what we're looking at as far as global warming and this global ecological crisis, is the taking and taking and taking and taking from nature, no matter the cost. And our laws are not even protecting us anymore. There is the very distortion of law itself going on, not only in our country, but the United States, but in many others. The dismissal of laws, the overrunning of laws, the overturning of laws of protection for humans as well as nature. And yet, when you are able to reach this level of relationship with yourself and in communion and connection and cooperation and collaboration with your true nature and your essence, you are automatically creating something new and different for this world. Whether you feel you have to physically be an activist and get involved, that's wonderful. I too, as I said, made calls this week to find out what's going on with those trees, made other people aware of it, are still in the process of perhaps stopping the cutting down of those trees. But it is more in your own internal change that the external change will take place. And before we drop in deeply to a connection with, a communing with nature and the many aspects that have shown up recently, and those of you who listen to this at a later point or happen to be here now, please add in those aspects that you're encountering. What animals, what plants, what have you noticed? Clouds have been very, very apparent this week. I have an amazing client who, through her process of transmutation, has a beautiful communication with clouds. She has an immediate response when she has a need or a question or pondering something. She'll step outside, ask the question, and immediately she sees the response from them. She's created her own language with them. They're not just some beautiful thing to look at. So I invite you now, whether you have any essence at this moment of Perelandra, which you may not, you may also be working with essential oils. If you've been listening to me or working with me at all, I have worked for 22 years, almost 21 years, with Young Living essential oils, because I find them to be not only the purest, but they maintain the intelligence, this divine intelligence that I'm referring to today, this nature intelligence. They speak, they have characteristics, they have personality. There is a definite energetic flavor and energetic wisdom that is in these oils, coming from plants and trees. And you can use them, either use your guidance to see which oils you might want to include in this process. And I encourage you to order from Perelandra, the essence of Perelandra, for your benefit. You'll learn a whole lot more about it. But in this case, at the very least, to do a monthly practice. On the first of the month, this is, as I said, to support the biodiversity process, the biodiversity of your land. And even if you don't have any land, if you're living in an RV or an apartment or even a room, you may have house plants. If you don't have house plants, you still have insects and little critters around there, mites and ants and roaches or terrariums, all kinds of things, your aquarium. All of this is still part of nature. And you're supporting that with this process. So step one is to focus your attention on your environment and state. I'm going to read this because I do not have it memorized. I wish to set up with nature, to shift essence of Perelandra to my personal environment, to provide the strength and support needed to counter and reverse climate change stress and the resulting loss and extinction of its biodiversity. Then you wait 10 seconds. Step 2, describe your land or home succinctly. Say it aloud. You can use your home address, focus on a sketch of your land, yard, balcony, room, apartment, garden, pond, forest, or farm. And then keep a copy of this description so you can easily refer to it each month. Then you place 10 drops of essence of Perelandra in a clean spoon. Holding the spoon out in front of you, you say, I wish to shift these essence of Perelandra drops to the location I've described to provide the strength and support needed for reversing the impact of climate change and the resulting loss and extinction of its biodiversity. And you hold the spoon out for 10 seconds. Step number 4, this shift occurs automatically. The power of the essence is what you're calling forth, this essence from this amazing place in Virginia that has worked with and incorporated this process thousands of times. And that beautiful balance and harmony and cooperation and collaboration between and among the land, the soil, the microbes, the chemistry of the soil, the plants, the trees, the animals, everything there is in harmony and in balance. And so you're bringing that to your area, whether it's, as I said, land or inside your home, room, RV, what have you. So this shift occurs automatically. After 10 seconds, the process is complete. Nature did the shift for you, so you might want to tip your hat to nature and thank it before moving on with the rest of your day. And the liquid that's left in the spoon, you can just pour it out down the drain. It doesn't matter because you've pulled or you've called in and through the very energetic that Perelandra represents. And I encourage you to do this process once a month. They do this and ask that everyone do so on the first of the month, because then we have, a larger community doing this. And that power of unified action is exponential. And I just want to read to you before we drop in the words of Michelle Wright from one of her books, Celebrating the Power of the Individual. She says, how about allowing nature, the intelligence inherent in that nature, to join us in equal partnership to give us the input we need to make new decisions and live in new ways that have a strong, positive impact on our lives and our health, as well as the planet. This is the power, the beauty, the wisdom of nature. And I'm just going to quickly incorporate this essence of Perelandra and ask the oils what they have to say today. When I do this process, it is, my eyes are closed. I'm doing it kinesthetically. Sorry, shifting over here. I don't know if you can see the oils. Maybe not. This computer is not as flexible as my external camera, so I apologize. The first oil that's pulled is tangerine, and that represents your tangerine dreams, your wildest dreams of your imagination. And they're saying that as you follow the wildest dreams of the essence of you, it will enable you to feel tranquil as you follow your innate wisdom. Thereby accessing the magic within the truth of who you are. Regenerating your sense of yourself and your power in the world. Gathering in all you may need and want in your heart. Seeing with the wide-eyed wonder of a child this amazing life, this amazing planet. And with that message and the essence of Perelandra, the wisdom of nature, your own true nature, that nature of the child that just knows that everything is a playmate, everything here is an opportunity and a wonder and an avenue to follow curiosity. And so as you're breathing into this wonder and wide-eyed expectation, allowing your own true nature to be felt, that true nature that is often described in myth and legend, Garden of Eden. Let yourself feel that safety, that security, that peace, that joy, that fun. Wide-eyed wonder and awe at the workings of every tiny member of this planet. The breathtaking cycles and rhythms and processes. The interrelatedness, the interdependence of which you are an integral part. Allow yourself to feel, not see, not think, but feel nature coming towards you, reaching out to you in countless ways throughout the day. Wanting to play with you, wanting to communicate with you, wanting to gift you, wanting to collaborate with you. Allowing your own body and energy field and wider self, which is your soul self, and all your non-human helpers. To join you. Allowing yourself to feel them. And ultimately allowing yourself to feel them feeling you. For it is in relationship, in this grand community, that you experience the oneness no greater, no lesser. But each individual divine expressions. And as you allow this beautiful blending of trees and flowers through the essential oils and the harmony and balance of Perelandra, flow down and in and through you. Enabling you to connect even deeper to your own true nature. The natural, play and back and forth, that is at the very core of your true nature. Hearing outside a lot of bird noise. Everyone's trying to accommodate as 2 large trees in the area were taken away, all of those homes, etc. So now there is a cooperation and a collaboration to accommodate bird song, let yourself drop down even deeper. No effort, no push. Your energy field and wider self know how to allow you to drop ever more deeply within you to your own true nature, enabling you to feel the wisdom, the generosity, the abundance, the joy, the excitement, the wonder, the awe, of this intricate complex, adaptive way enabling you to incorporate that in and through your daily life. Experiencing the belonging, the mutuality, of this web of life in which you are a purposeful, vital thread. Allowing your true nature to be felt by, to be heard by, to be embraced by. Nature itself. And in turn, receiving, incorporating the multitude of gifts Some of you may have actual physical sensations of deep connectedness and communing. upon this at any moment, simply by tuning in and dropping in deeply to your own true nature, that pure, clear, divine nature. And as we move back towards a more physical, three-dimensional reality, you have embodied this relationship, this connection, this interrelationship, this interdependence, a deep sense of belonging and presence of you. So allowing your energy field and your wider self to guide you in your own rhythm, your own timing. Letting you know when it is time to open your eyes and to have some water. And I encourage you, we have on the East Coast right now the most beautiful weather. As you spend time outside, which I hope you are able to, allow yourself to sink back into your true nature and feel the nature around you. Not just see it, not just know about it or observe it, which creates that separation, but allow yourself to feel it, to truly enable those aspects of nature to come to you. And I'd love to hear your experiences. I'd love to hear the messages, any information that you receive. Please jot it down here or post it. Post it below this video. And until next time, next Friday, as I mentioned, there will be an upcoming program, and if you have any questions or want to reach out for more information about the transformation and transmutation process, please contact me. And again, we have the beautiful essential oils. If you'd like to have more information or begin to use them, I am happy to do a read for you of which oils are most pertinent for you at this point in time through my oils, companions, and colleagues. And until next time, I encourage you to feel how much a part of this community of nature you are. And as always, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet at this time. Be well. Bye-bye.